Well, good evening and welcome to Jen Cares, powered by Chosen Counselors. I am your host, Jen Cares, the founder of Chosen Counselors, a nonprofit organization that seeks to inspire, motivate, empower, and strengthen individuals and families. First and foremost, I want to just say thank you to each and every one of you for tuning in, for liking, for sharing, for commenting and watching again. I truly do appreciate each and every one of you. Special thanks to Yvonne Kennedy for joining us last week. That was a good chat, and I love a good chat. It was funny. We was trying to end it, but couldn't end it because we was talking about some good things. Question: did you do your homework? Did you write 10 things you like, 10 things you don't like as it relates to relationships? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to ask again when it's almost over. Why? Because it is important that we know what we like and what we don't like. That helps us to tell other people how we want to be treated. Helps others to know how we want to be loved. You know, it's important. So if you didn't do it, there is still time. This month is coming to an end tonight. And this month's theme was the elephant in the room. Such a good topic. And we love tough conversations over here. I want the best for us. And that's why we did this month's theme. Talking about some things that we don't always talk about. We started off with financial planning. I hope you are planning your finances well, because guess what? They do run out after a while. But we want to make sure we are taking care of ourselves. Then last week we did cuffing season. And that one was a good one. I got to watch it again myself. There was some tidbits that was dropped. But tonight we're going to close out with Speak Up. Tonight's segment is Speak Up, and our guest is going to share her story and shine a light on a topic, that is not always explored. So let's get on into the conversation. Oh, got some people saying hello. Hey, sis, how you doing? I love you, Jeannie. Hey, Dr. Pratt, Pastor Pratt, good evening. Cynthia, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. This is about to get good because guess what? Our guest is excited to share her story. And guess what? It's going to help encourage us. It may help us to help somebody else that may be going through the same thing. All right, so let's get into it. One more. I don't want to leave you out. Hello, Carmen. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. All right, so here we go. Our guest tonight is Yvonne McCoy, and it's going to be amazing. Are y'all ready? Are you ready? Here we go. Welcome for our Speak Up episode.
Ooh. Hey, hi.
Good evening. How are you?
I am fine. A little nervous, but I'm good.
Nervous. Don't be nervous. It's just a conversation between me and you. We got some friends that's eavesdropping and watching this, but don't be nervous.
Eavesdroppers, okay.
It's going to be amazing. I bet I get one more shout out. My Mama Wanda is here. Hey, Mama Wanda. I love Mama Wanda. She has been a fan and a supporter since day one, and I truly appreciate her. So thank you so much for joining us, Mama Wanda.
Hey, Mama Wanda.
Yes. So, get your nerves out. Get it out. I'm going to give you a warm up. You ready?
I'm ready.
Woo. So, over here at Jen Cares, we always start with a quote of the day. And today's quote of the day is, I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it. Again, I could be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it. What are your thoughts on that?
I absolutely love it. That's why I do what I do. Because of what happened to me, it totally changed me. I'm not the same person I used to be, I wish to be, I want to be. But I refuse with every fiber in my being to allow what happened to me to reduce me to something less than who and what I truly am. I love it. I love that quote. I love it.
Now pause for the calls. Did she just say she was nervous? But then the sign to her left, it's your left. It says, I got this.
I got
this. You're ready. I don't think you're nervous no more. I think that warms you up real good.
All righty. Let's go.
So as always, I have prepared some questions to guide tonight's topic. But to all of my chosen friends that are tuning in, be sure to engage in conversation by commenting below. If you have a question or want us to explore something further, let us know. So first, tell us about yourself.
Well, I am the mother of 7, Skip, TJ, Pumpkin, Andy, Ashley, Katoya, and Lily. I refer to them as my 7 wonders. They have been my rock of Gibraltar. That, as well as my mother and the church. I work for the Department of Human Services in the education department. I've been there maybe 6, 7, 9 years, something like that. And I am a sexual assault survivor, a 2-time sexual assault, 2-time childhood sexual assault survivor. Ooh. Yeah, that's me. That's my story.
We're going to get into that today. You said 2 times.
2 times.
It's sad for it to happen once, but then it happened again.
Yeah.
One of the 7 is in the audience tonight. Thank you so much for joining us.
Ashley. Hey, Ash.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us. Right. Not nervous anymore at all, Cynthia. Shamika says she knows she got this, right? But thank you so much for the love that you're giving her. I love that, because tonight's topic could be pretty heavy. No matter how many times you said it, it could be a lot, right?
That's the absolute truth.
You said that it relates well to you. So tell us about that. Why does it relate so well to you, that quote, and some of your experience? Tell your story.
Okay, so with regard to the quote saying what happened, in essence, what happened changed me. It changed who I am. It changed how I think. It changed how it changed every aspect of who I am. But it did. I would not. And it tried. And almost succeeded in reducing me. I've come from a family of a strong-willed family, a family that tells you you can do anything. We're born and raised in the church. Holy Ghost filled, fire baptized, all of that. And when this thing happened to me, I had to refine myself. I had to understand who I really was. And it took every ounce of my being to understand that the me is still me. My nickname is Doll. So Doll is still Doll. What happened to Doll at the age of 8 and what happened to Doll at the age of 15, she's still Doll. The core of who Doll really is still there. But at some point in some time, it took me a while to get there. I started second guessing myself. I started not feeling as proud of myself, not holding my head as high as I used to, not doing eye-to-eye contact, not speaking out loud or boldly, sort of fading into the cloud or fading into the bushes or fading into the crowd, not standing up and out for who I really am. And then when I realized what was happening, when I got wind of, oh no, you changed my world, but you won't change me. You changed my surroundings, but you won't change me. You changed my mindset, but you won't change me. So what I'm going to do with what has happened to me is try to help somebody else. I knew what I was feeling. I knew what I was experiencing. I knew how I felt. And my heart went out to other people. I said, I've got to do for somebody else what Dorothy did to me. And as we go into the story, you'll learn who Dorothy was and the role she played in my life.
So are you talking about Dorothy from the Winds?
Not that Dorothy. It was another.
Okay. Tell me more.
Well, this Dorothy, after my first assault, the first assault happened at the age of 8. But we're going to just fast forward to the second assault, and we're going to talk about Dorothy a little bit. At the second assault, they have what's called a crisis center, where once you've been assaulted, there's someone there to sort of walk you through what you're going to go through and what's going to happen. And being 14 years old, it was the last Sunday in November 1975, standing on the corner of 22nd and Cambria in front of, oh God, they're not even Murray's. They're not even in existence anymore, I don't think. Standing in front of Murray's. And after the assault, I was taken to one of the rescue centers where, and having never been, having never had a GYN, I had no idea what was about to happen, what was about to take place. And this lady, at the age, I was 14, this woman to me, at that time, I remember thinking, this old white lady, that's all I could remember, this old white lady. That's what stood out in my mind. And as I was undressing to put on my, the gown that you put on to be examined, grass fell out of my clothes, because that's where the assault happened, in a grassy area. And I said, see, look, it really did happen. And that lady came from across the room. She stood there. She looked me straight in my eye. And she said, baby, I believed you when you first said it. I left that room that evening with the determination. I said, I want to do for somebody else what Dorothy did for me.
Mm.
Dorothy, the fact that she was a total stranger. Now, my parents
Yeah.
believed me, grandparents
Mhm.
believed me. There was no
Mhm.
doubt that what had happened, and that I was
Mhm.
being truthful. But for a total stranger, somebody I
Yeah.
had never seen, somebody I had never met, somebody I had no idea of, for Dorothy to do what she did, she left an
Mm.
impression on me that evening. And I left that room that evening saying to myself, I want to do for somebody else
What
what
Dorothy did.
Dorothy did for me.
Mm.
Yeah.
Can any of my friends say that I want to do for somebody else what Dorothy did for you?
My
To
God.
have somebody believe you, and that stumps us so much from sharing sometimes because it's like they're not going to believe us. They're
Yeah.
not going to listen. Who am I?
Exactly.
They're going to
It
say
was
this, or it
so
happened because this, or blame game.
exactly,
But to
exactly.
take me
And
at
that's why
face
so many people
value,
don't speak out.
yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's talk about that. What was their process to speak up? How was it? Because it wasn't just the first time, but the second time. So, like, to be able to speak up, what was that battle like?
Well, to share with me, I remember after the assault. Let me get comfortable. When I start talking about, I'm empowered every time I talk. So I go into another person. I become a warrior every time
Yeah,
I start talking about my story. Because
I
it is
love
my
it.
sincerest prayer that when I share what I share, even though it takes me back to that dark place, it takes me back
Mm,
to that scary place, it takes me
mm,
back to that, oh my God, place. I'm willing to go there. God knows I'm
mm,
willing to go there as many times as I need to go there if it's going to help somebody else. So
mm,
after the assault, I remember standing on that corner. He helped me find my car fare. That was one of the hardest things in my mind. I couldn't fathom in my mind. How do you say you were sexually assaulted? How do
mm,
you say that somebody forced themselves on you? And then you say in the very next breath, they were nice. I fought and struggled with that for a good 15 years, before I went into therapy. But at the actual time of the assault, he helped me find my car fare. I think I was like a quarter short or something. Stood back on the corner, waited for the bus. As we left the place where the assault took place and walked to the corner, which was about maybe a block, he said to me, do you think God is going to forgive me? I had to clench my teeth. And I
mm,
told him, sure, God is going to forgive you. I was still so fearful. I was still in his grips. I was still not sure what might happen. So I needed to say what I felt like I needed to say to get out of there
mm,
safe. I said,
mm,
sure, God is going to forgive you. And I remember him mentioning something about his grandmother with regard to church, which led me to believe that he knew something about the church. And he knew that what he had just done
was that
was
right?
something that his grandma nor God will be pleased with. Even though I said, I know God is going to forgive you. I was hoping with every ounce, every breath in my body. I wanted the cracks in the payment to separate. I wanted
Mm,
Satan himself to reach up out of hell. And I wanted
mm,
him to grab him by the neck and pull
mm,
him down. But I felt like I had to be nice. I had to be submissive. I had to do what I thought was necessary to do. And he waited for the bus. The bus came. I got on the bus. I remember getting off of the bus. Whew, from where I got off the bus to where I lived was a good 4 blocks, dark blocks. And it
mm,
seemed like it was endless. I kept putting one foot in front of the other, saying, I've got to see my mom. I want to see my
mm,
mom. And that was
mm,
the driving force. It was as if I wasn't me anymore. It says I was watching this thing play out. And all I wanted to do was to get to my mom. I remember getting to the house, and the way that our house was made, I think it was Ringo Street. The way the house was made, when you open the door, you go straight up to the second floor. So she came
mm,
down, I knocked, she came down, and as soon as she opened the door, she didn't even say nothing. She just turned around and went up the steps. And before I could close the front door, I said, Mom, that's all I said. That's all I said. She hadn't even reached the top of the steps yet.
mm,
And she turned around like a whirlwind. My cry for help and just mentioning her name, her title, that wasn't
mm,
her name, her title, Mom.
mm,
She could hear something's wrong. Something's wrong.
mm,
She turned around and she came back there. She said, what's wrong? What's the matter? And it was like I was frozen. I couldn't talk. I couldn't think. It
mm,
was like I was comatose for a moment. Dial's my nickname. Dial, what's wrong? What happened? So I went on to share with her what happened. And then she went into a frizzy, calling my grandmama and calling this and calling. And I'm just sitting there and I'm watching all of this. It's sort of like everything was like moving. Can you see my hands, how fast they're moving, like in fast motion? She's calling and she's making these calls. And before I know it, the police are there and they're asking me and I'm sharing my story again. And it was hard. It was hard. It was hard. And then the police were male police officers. So that made it hard. So I shared my story and I told what happened and all of that. And it was years later before I actually went into therapy. That happened at 1975, the last Sunday in November. The very next Sunday was my 15th birthday.
Wow.
I remember standing on that corner, waiting on that bus after the assault, looking straight up into the heavens. And I said, even you don't love me. I said, God, even you don't love me. And I carried that belief. For a good 15, 20 years before I came to fully understand the mercy and justice of God and how much God does love me. Can I fully explain why this happened? I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but I know what I did with what happened turned it around and wouldn't allow myself to continue to be a victim. For so long, I carried the weight. I carried the shame. I carried the guilt. And can you imagine what it's like carrying this day after day after day after week after month after year? And one day I realized, I said, no more. I said, I'm going to place the guilt and the shame on the shoulders where they belong. I said, my shoulders aren't strong enough for this. I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. I can't wear the shame. I can't wear the blame. I can't wear the guilt. I can't do it anymore.
Yes.
I then went and got counseling, and that was the beginning of that. But the first offense was totally different.
So I have a question before we go to that one.
Sure.
Well, not a question, but something I want to highlight. You said that as you were getting off the bus, one step in front of the other, I just got to get to my mom. So kudos to your mom, one, because y'all had that relationship where you felt that you could go to her. You could share with her whatever it is that's going on. And we talk about the importance of having that communication and building that relationship, whatever it looks like for you and your children. I know some it does work out for. I know some it doesn't work out for. But that part stood out to me, as well as her opening up the door and going up the steps, but hearing your voice to know that something's going on. So even if you don't, God forbid, have that close relationship with your child, at least knowing the voice, at least knowing the sound of the alarm that was being, called to say something ain't right. Wait a minute, what's wrong with my baby? I got to go see about my baby.
Absolutely. All I said was, Mom. She turned around like the Tasmanian monster. She died. What's wrong? What's the matter? What happened? And she was bombarding me with questions. What happened? What's wrong? What's the matter? And that's one of the things as we, and I'm just all over the place. So you stop me when you need to.
You all right.
One of the things that we need to learn, and one of the things that I'm learning and educating, that's my whole platform. And when I get excited or I get nervous, I forget people's names. So I may call you baby girl. I mean no disrespect.
You're right.
But that's my whole platform, is to educate people. I want to educate people as to what sexual assault is. And what really drove me into that phase of sexual assault was the Me Too movement. That Me Too movement awakened something in me that will never, ever be able to go to sleep again. So many people were questioning the victim. They were asking why. Why did you go back? Why didn't you tell? Why didn't you talk about it? Why didn't you say something? That's why. Because you're berated with all of these whys. Why don't you ask him? Why did he do what he did? Why don't you ask him? Why did he do what he did? Why don't you ask him? So when that movement came about, and that's when I did my very first virtual, it was called Understanding My Why. And I did it about a year ago. I had 7 individuals on, I believe it was. And the topic was Understanding My Why. And what I wanted to do was to share with individuals. What I had come to learn was that a lot of the people that were asking why all of them didn't mean harm. They didn't realize what they were saying, and they're questioning you, and they're not believing you was adding more trauma to what you had already gone through. They didn't realize that it was taking you back to that dark place. So once I realized, because at first I was like a bull in a china closet. The minute somebody said why, it was on and popping. I was ready. I was ready to give them the why. And then when I came to understand, some family members came and said, Dow, your message is good. You've got so much to say. What you're saying is so valuable, but nobody's hearing you. All they do is see you. You get upset. You get loud. They don't see you. When I realized that all they do is see me, but they don't hear me.
It's a difference.
So important for me, for people to hear what I'm saying. Yes. And it took some time. I wasn't able just to go from A to B. It took some time. So it's so important for individuals to understand what sexual assault is. And it's not because, come on, you stop me when you can
help us, educate us. Because, when the Me Too movement came out, I think, unfortunately, sometimes though, depending on who the person was, it's almost like, oh yeah, they did it. But then when we had Bill Cosby, not Heathcliff Huxtable, and people unfortunately consciously and unconsciously sided with who they felt was the right person, or they just trying to get money, or they're trying to stop this and things of that sort. And at the end of the day, black and white is clear as black and white. If it happened, it happened. And how can we support the people and not diminish what it is that they've been through? So what are some ways that those that have not experienced sexual abuse can be educated to know how to handle when somebody says, oh, I was a part of that too, or, oh, this is my story too, to be supportive and not a way to hound you with questions, but to be educated on how to maybe support you or to know about the red flags to support somebody else?
One of the things with regard to that is it's the likelihood of someone saying that they have endured something as horrific as that is quite minimal. And in fact, the statistics, if I'm not mistaken, it's like 2%. It's like the same percent of people that say a crime happened that didn't happen is about the same low percent as it is for somebody who said I was sexually assaulted. So the magnitude, many people think that, okay, a lot of people are lying, or people are making that up. Very seldom. Yeah, there are some. Yeah, there are some. But there's some people who lied and said they were robbed. There's some people who lied and said they were molested. There were some people who lied and said other things too. But the fact of the matter is, it's not a large number. It's not such a number that will cause you to disbelieve people. Who would want to say, somebody violated me? Somebody came into my space, my private space, not private space, not just my but in my private space.
Yes.
Without my consent.
Without my consent.
Yeah. So, and like with Dorothy, had Dorothy's reaction to me been different, I probably wouldn't be here today. I probably would not have been in this chair. The first person you come out to is crucial. It is imperative that you listen. Just listen. And a lot of times the survivor will tell you what they need from you. A lot of times, okay, I think you need to go to counseling. I think we need to tell mom. I think, slow down, listen. Do you understand that they have just had something taken away from them? In some instances, violently taken away from them. And here you are taking their right to speak or deny. You're taking something else from them. They've already had something as valuable as this taken away. And you don't realize that when you say, come on, you need to go to the counselor. No, I don't want to go now. You need to report this to the police. No, can we wait? Yeah, come on. You're taking their voice away again. Their voice was taken in the act. No, don't do this. I don't want to be a part of this. No, please stop. Their voices are muffled. Their voices are taken away. Their strength was stripped of them. And here we are again doing the same thing. We don't mean any harm. Honestly, we don't mean any harm. But that is one of the worst things that you can do for a survivor. You've got to let them regain that trust again. You've got to let them be able to speak again. Let them guide you as to how you can help them. I promise you, they'll show you. What you can do is being a listening ear and just be supportive. Just let them know without so much saying it. Whenever I'm here. Whenever you call, I'm here. Whenever you beckon, I'm here. Whenever you blink, I'm here. Whatever you need, I'm here. Just let them know that you are there as a means of support. And I promise you, when they get ready, they will do something about it. I didn't do anything for 15 years. About 15 years. A good 12, 15 years. Was married, had 7 children. I tell you about them 7. Skip, TJ, Punk, Andy, Ashley, Victoria, Lily, the 7 wonders of my world.
Yes.
I had a few of them before I went into counseling. Oh, and that counseling experience was beautiful as well. That was something beyond belief.
I love it. I want to get to the therapy because I'm all about therapy over here. Background, I love people talking about their problems. The piece I want to talk about is that piece of carrying it, because you said it was so many years that happened. What is the struggle in carrying it? Or, let's talk about that piece, because in a lot of the pieces that we're sharing of like even just being able to listen to somebody, sometimes our friends come to us about any life experience and we don't always listen. We want to always solve it. And we're learning tonight that though somebody's speaking up, listen to them when they're speaking up. They're speaking loudly, they're speaking softly. You gotta listen, you gotta pay attention. So in that piece of carrying it, because before you get to the part to speak up about it, tell about that struggle or that journey and trying to formulate the words or putting it together, putting the puzzle pieces together. Because like, well, if I say it, I might say it wrong, or they're not going to understand. So I got to make sure that this is set up right, or I got to say this to set up the story, things that sort. So let's talk about the process of carrying such a heavy load.
If you can imagine giving birth and feeling like you didn't have, that you didn't love your kids. I felt like I didn't know how to love. I knew I wanted to love, but I didn't know how. I didn't know how to love. I'm just now at the age of 60, really grasping this thing called love.
Oh, wait a minute, what? At the age of what?
60.
God bless, Lord. I've seen what you've done for others. I'm sorry, go ahead.
At the age of 60, really being able to freely say, I love you, and to embrace, to hug. Woo, wow. I would try my best to show them I love them, but I couldn't verbalize it. I couldn't say the words. I honestly felt like if there was a cell or something in your body that allowed you to love, when the rape happened, that cell or that hormone or whatever, I didn't have it. I honestly believed I did not have it. So I went through life for a large part of my life. And even with relations with my husband, I didn't tell him. I was in the church when we got married. He joined the church after having had a child in the world, and then joined the church. So he knew what it was like to be out there. I married as a virgin. I married at the age of 23, 24 as a virgin. And I said, no, I can't tell him. I said, I can't. He prided himself on having, I was a young person in the church. And if it was happening, I was in it. If it was something going on in church, trust and believe, God was a part of it. Some way, somehow, very active in the church. And he admired that. That was one of the things I believe that drew me to him, was my activities and all in the church. And I didn't tell him for years. He reminded me so much of my perpetrator, not in looks. He looks nothing like him. My perpetrator was a young boy. I think he may have been about 17. He was thick, very big lips, not a bad looking young boy. Looked to be about 17 years old. My husband, light complexion, a little tall and look nothing, but how nice. Even now, and I know somebody's going to have questions, and I'm ready for the questions. As nice as my rapist was, my husband was so nice, so gentle, and it would just take me back there. And I detested. Yeah, I had 7 kids, but I detested the very act. I detest. I'll do the bathroom. I'll clean the kitchen. I'll scrub the toilets. Can we switch off? Can we? So carrying it was difficult. But the freedom of releasing it. Freedom of releasing it. I'm not in a relationship right now, and I can't wait to get in one. I'm ready to get married. Anybody out there? Call me. Hallelujah.
I'm gonna just touch and agree with her.
Yes.
Go ahead, Lord. You're
ready now, okay? So yes, I'm in a much better place. Sometimes I shock myself when I say I love you. I have to look and say, I said that. It rolls off of my tongue with ease now. Am I perfect? No. There's still some challenges. I don't know what a relationship is going to be like, because like after having been with my husband, we're divorced now. I've been divorced for about 20 years now. So I don't know what another relationship is like, but I'm willing to be free and be open, where in that relationship, I was closed off. Everything was closed off. My mind, my thought, my actions, everything was closed off. So I guess that's the assault had the greatest impact in that aspect of my life, not being able to express love to my children. And it was later on in life, I asked them, I said, do y'all know I love you? They said, Mom, yeah. You didn't always say it, but yeah, we know it. It took a weight off of me. Not all of the weight, but it took a lot of weight off me, that they knew that at least I do love you. I do love you. I just didn't know how to say it. I didn't know how to say it. I didn't know how to say I love you. I didn't know how.
And that's a big part right there of sometimes parents don't always say it, but their actions show it. And that's why, it's like, pay attention to the actions, but you sometimes want to hear the words too. My mom was big on it. I love you, things that sort. But I do know some that weren't like that. I'm like, your mom didn't do this? Wait, I'm sorry, because everybody's experience was different. So share with me how it was for you, instead of saying your mom didn't, because then it's like, because my mom didn't, is something wrong with me? Not at all. And we have to be careful, because sometimes our words, our tone could come as if we're judging, and it's not. My experience was different. So it's like, how was it like growing up with your mom? Things that are so different ways to, put that on. But yeah. So one person asked about forgiveness, and I'm gonna go there, but I still want to go back to the relationship with your husband and like your children. Things like that. So Cynthia said, "Wow, but did you forgive him?" But I did. Also, I want to switch up. I want to talk about the process of you forgiving him.
Okay.
But also forgiving yourself, because sometimes you can have like some blame on your own. Was that
Come on, girl? Come on, we're about to preach. I had to forgive me. Before I could forgive them, I had to forgive me for allowing myself to be in that place for so long. I wasn't able to forgive him. And in the first assault, it was an older cousin, a well-trusted cousin. And the second assault, it was a total stranger. But before I could forgive anybody, and it sounds strange to me, I had to forgive me. I had to forgive me for allowing me to carry the weight. I had to forgive me for, at first when somebody asked, well, when I said I had to forgive myself, they said, oh, because you went there, or oh, because you didn't scream, or oh, no, oh, not because of any of those things. I wish I had done those things, but I had to forgive me for carrying that weight, for carrying the weight, for believing for so long that it was my fault. I didn't know it wasn't my fault. I actually believed that it must have been something. It was wintertime. It was November, the last Sunday in November. I got on a coat, I got on a hat, I got on gloves, I got on boots. You name it, I got it on, because I'm cold. I'm cold all the time. So I'm wondering, what did I look? And you question yourself. So I had to forgive myself for even questioning myself. I had to forgive myself for even believing that I had any part. And look at the attitude, the black girl, that I had any part in any of that. No, Not
And let
so.
me pause there for a second, because that has happened. Oh, she wore that, it was too short, or she did this and things of the sort. You could have on your dress to your knees. If that person's mind is set up to do something that's contrary to what they should be doing, that dress is beautiful to them. Because it's a mind thing. It's not sometimes about the outer. It's the chase or whatever else is going through their mind and things of that sort. So we got to stop they only did that because she fast. What does fast mean?
How fast was he?
Yes.
Okay. And when people say that it was what she had on, how many times have you read or heard where infants are raped, toddlers are raped, and you hear some sick, demented individual say that toddler was coming on to them? How many times have you heard of nuns being raped? The habit, the whole 9 yards, Muslims, all 9. How many times have you heard of older senior citizens being sexually assaulted? It has nothing to do with what you have on. And it may not be the wisest thing, but if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. If you want to walk from here to Broad Street butt naked, let it all hang out. It's not someone else's right or prerogative to force their feelings or their wishes, their desires on you. It has nothing to do with the way you were dressed. It has nothing to do with, she had alcohol. It has nothing to do with the fact that she went to his room at 2:00 in the morning. What does she expect? When I hear stuff like that, it used to boil something inside me. It used to grind my gears. But now I just try to stay calm. I try to stay as sweet as possible. That's and 1 month for the whole month. A part of what I do sometimes is educate people. And I had a whole month of sexual assault, myth or fiction, or fiction. And we did every single day for the entire month for 31 days. Came on every day at the same time, shared one myth and one fiction. And that was a lot of what played into it. How you were dressed, what time you went over. If that really happened, you went back. How could you do that? What you were wearing, who you were with. You gave the eye. And even if you say yes initially, check this out. Even if you say yes initially, and at some point in time, while the act is taking place, you say no, no means no. And I know somebody's about to blow up. I know somebody's about to have a fit. How can you be in the act of having sex and then she changed her mind and you just supposed to stop? That's what you're supposed to do.
That's what you're supposed to do.
If you don't do that, then you have assaulted that individual. And let's say she agreed to something. She agreed to doing this or oral sex or this. And then you tried something that she didn't agree to. She agreed to this. She didn't agree to that. So when you do that, you have violated her. You have violated her. She has the right to say no at any given time. And if she's so intoxicated, then she doesn't even have the ability to say yes or no. She's not in her full capacity to say yes or no. So you again, if you have sex with her in that state of mind, she was drinking, but she said you or the very fact that she had any drinks at all, you should have waited till another time when you knew she was
clear mind. And guys can be assaulted too.
Oh, yes. They
might not talk about it as much.
Yeah.
But it happens.
It does happen.
Because they too can say no.
I worked for WAR as an intake liaison for a short period of time. And one of the calls that I got blew my mind because I didn't know how to prepare for it. It was a male got on and said that he had been sexually assaulted. So I'm trying to be as trained and as professional as I possibly can. And as he shared what transpired, I'm thinking in my head, these are the same feelings and it was his mate, a significant other. And yes, you can be violated by your significant other. You can be violated by your boyfriend. You can be violated by your husband. Yeah, yes, you can. No means no to any and everybody. And as the young man was sharing how he was feeling and how betrayed he felt and how shame he felt, and I said, this is the exact same feelings that a female has. I said, there is no difference in what he is feeling as having been betrayed or someone having violated him the same feelings. That yes, men are sexually assaulted, and it's so much harder for them to speak up. It's so much harder for them to talk because
they need some Dorothys. What's the male version of a Dorothy? Or they need a Dorothy. They have a female version too. They need somebody to believe them.
A David or a Dan.
Yes, there you go. Because so many times you do go to speak up, and people don't. If somebody doesn't believe you, then you don't want to share anymore.
That's true. That's true. That's true. You get that one person or a couple people, especially if it's that first person. You get that person and they start questioning you. Well, what did you say? Well, what did you do? Causing you to question yourself. It doesn't matter what you said. It doesn't matter what you did. None of that matters. No means no.
No means no.
So many people don't understand. So many people don't understand. And that's the platform that I stand on, is try to educate people. Now that I'm a little calmer with it, a little more soft-spoken with it, I think I can do better now. But it boils my very innards to hear people say those things. But I'm coming to understand that they're ignorant, and ignorant in the sense of just not knowing. They don't realize that what they're doing is further traumatizing individuals. When they say and do those things, they don't realize it. And some people really do want to know. They really do want to know.
Right. And again, if you don't know, it's good to ask. And, you know, the questions that we have coming up is all in love. Because, like, if we don't know, we don't know. We're trying to find out how to best support. Right. So you said you did forgive him. What was that process like? Once
I forgave myself, it was easy to forgive him. Once I forgave me. And when I think back, he was a kid. I was 14. I don't think he was any more than 17. I could smell alcohol on his breath. Did he appear to be drunk? He seemed to be well, you know, of his capacities. He didn't appear to be drunk, but I smelled alcohol on his breath. Speaking about his grandmother in the church, said to me that he knew something about the Lord. He knew something about God. He knew what he did was wrong. So I think it was easier for me to forgive him than it was for me to forgive the family member. In the first offense, I was 8 years old, and there was a family member that babysat us, a very close family member. And when it was about, that happened when I was 8. By the time I realized it, I was about 20. I was watching Oprah. No, I had to be 24 because I was already married. I remember sweeping the dining room. Oprah came on. There was a show on about sexual assault. And I'm hearing Oprah's guests talk about sexual assault. And I'm like, I start getting flashbacks. I'm like, I'm remembering the house that we used to live in. I'm remembering Grandma Alice. I'm remembering the second floor. I'm remembering, I can see that. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like 24, 25. I picked up the phone. Mom, do we ever live on Franklin Street? Yes, doll. Did Grandma Alice live downstairs? Yes, doll. When we lived on the second floor, yes, doll. Did so-and-so used to watch us? Doll, what, doll? And I said, so-and-so molested me. Phone went quiet. Total silence. She said, what? And I realized later, it was like a punch in the gut to her. My mom prided herself on keeping her children safe. She prided herself on making certain that her children were well cared for and was kept out of harm's way. And she felt like at that point, she had directly put us right in the path of harm. Somebody who she loved dearly and trusted had betrayed her trust to that magnitude. So it was hard for her, but it was just the flashbacks. It like scared me near about to death. Because the mind has a way of protecting itself. And one of the things I remember now in our household as kids, and in a lot of Black households, when you're small, what happened in this house, stay in this house. The other parts of that, if you don't tell when it happened, when I find out that you knew, I'm going to get you for the old and the new. So I felt the fact that I didn't tell her that day when she came home from work, that I didn't tell her, I felt like I couldn't tell her. But as an 8-year-old, I didn't realize that rule didn't apply to this. That rule didn't. And then just the way that he maneuvered himself. Let's play a game. Let's see. Because I remember asking, can we go outside? And it was my sister and I. He said, yeah, y'all can go. So we're both getting ready to go outside. He said, no, you sit down. You was reading a book. You can't go. I'm like, oh man, but you know not to talk bad because you know you get in trouble. So I sit back down on the step that leads up to the second floor, and I'm sitting there reading. He said, come on, let's play a game. I'm gonna see if you can push me off of you. And I'm like, no, yeah, let's. And the more you try to push, the game is that you win if you can push me off, then you're the winner. So of course, as I'm trying to push off, he's pushing himself more. And of all times, I have on a pair of pants with a hole in the seat. Hole in the seat. And I remember his fingers feeling like tree limbs. I remember feeling like they felt huge. And when it was over, it was like as if, okay, go finish reading your book. We finished playing. And I knew something was wrong. I knew something wasn't right, but I didn't know how to express it. And when I didn't tell my mother that evening, I felt like I couldn't tell her. So my brain locked it away. I had no memory, no recollection, nothing, absolutely nothing until I watched over on that day. On that particular day, it just unlocked. And I wasn't even paying attention to the show. I was more or less sweeping and hearing the guests in the background. I remember stopping, holding the broom, and just looking at the television screen, picking up the phone. At that time, I didn't have a cell phone. You had to pick up the house phone.
Yes. So. I love it. How the randomest things could bring it back to your memory, then you can address it and things of that sort. And the mom again still supporting, like,
yes,
what? And things of that sort. I also was interesting that you said was the rule. I thought the rule didn't apply to that, or actually, I thought the rule applied to that. So I did share, but the rule didn't apply to that. What happens in the house stays in the house. But if something's happening where somebody's violating you, and that's something that we do need to verbalize to our children, because they'll think that
absolutely.
So then somebody else coming from the outside,
I won't be mad at you. You're not going to get in trouble, and that's what we've got to let our children know. You're not in trouble. You can tell mommy. You can tell me what happened. You're not in trouble. I will believe you. That you've got to have a safe place to go. That's why I was, even at the age of 14, I was 14. I was able to talk to my mother freely because I felt a safe place. And as children, they've got to feel that it's a safe place. They've got to feel that I'm not in trouble. And then sometimes our children will try to take on, you don't know what the perpetrator has said to them. You don't know how long they have groomed them. You don't know what threats they have made. I'm going to kill your dog. I'm going to take your favorite toy. Your mom going to go to jail. She's not going to believe you. Because remember you told a story about not taking the ice cream and you took the ice cream? She's not going to believe you about this. So we've got to let our children know. We've got to let them know, I love you and I believe you.
And it hurts my heart that them jokers pays attention to be trying to use that as blackmail against you.
Yes, them jokers. Yes, they do. An individual who grooms may groom for as long as 10, 15, 16 years, preparing and grooming. And believe it or not, some groomers are so much and so they groom the parents. The parents don't even know that they are being groomed. Let me watch so-and-so. Let me take care. Oh, it's okay. They can come over. It's all right. Oh, you're having trouble with them? Sure. Let me take them with me. They don't know that they themselves are being groomed. And when they're being groomed, then they open up themselves and their children to the perpetrator, not knowing what's going on. Not knowing.
We got to open our eyes, open our ears.
Absolutely.
Cynthia has some questions in the comment section. I'm gonna have to bring her home because she got some good ones. So the first part was, did you ever tell him that you forgave him?
I never met him again. The perpetrator at the age of 8, I don't even know if he remembered that I remembered. I've seen him a lot since then. I kept my distance. When I got kids, I kept my distance, my kids from them. So I don't even know that he knows for sure. I sort of think in the back of his mind, he might, but by me having been so young, the second individual, I never saw him again. And the only thing that I sort of got upset with my mom, I found years later, cleaning out the china closet. You know them old folks, they put everything in the china closet. So we was cleaning out the China closet one day, and I saw something from the police district years later where they had found someone and they wanted me to come in to do a lineup. And my mother said no. She felt like that would have been too much for me. I think had I been able to address it then, I don't think I would have carried the burden so long, because it was about maybe 6 months or something after the assault. They found someone who sort of fit the description. But she didn't think it was a good idea. And I know she was trying to protect me. And then my dad, Nate, my dad, we would catch the bus home. All of a sudden, after the assault, because we would go to Big Mommy's house. It's a typical a Sunday family. Go to church on Sunday. Mom didn't go to church then. She started going to church later. Go to church on Sunday. Then go to Big Mommy's house and, eat that chicken and that fish and that potato salad. And then I catch the bus home to my mom's house. After the assault, my dad started meeting me at the bus stop. I'm like, well, if you want me at the bus stop, I'm thinking, Dad, why you can't just take me home? So, and then he would sit in the car. And I'm like, okay, well, what's going on? I'm wondering why I gotta wait for a bus and my daddy sitting in the car.
I get it.
Found out years later, my dad was strapped. My dad thought that I might see the individual, have a reaction, and then he was going to do what he was going to do for at least about 6 months. Just the same routine. I go to church, we go to Big Mommy's house, we eat dinner, I catch the bus home. Dad takes me to the bus, meets me at the bus stop. He don't even take me to the bus stop. Meet me at the bus stop. And he's sitting there in the corner. And I'm like, okay, I get on. He was strapped. He thought that I might see the individual and would have a reaction. I believe if I saw him as an adult, because that's how his face is etched in my mind, I believe I would recognize him. He was about 17 years old. That happened when I was 15. I'm 60 now. So that's been a lot of years. I sort of believe that I would recognize him if I saw him today. But in answer to your question, neither knew that I forgave. Because like I said, the first person, I don't even think he really realized I knew. And then the other person, I never saw again. But that forgiveness was for me.
Yes.
That forgiveness was for me.
That's good. Cynthia said, "Go daddy, indeed." He said, "That's my grandpa." And at first it was quickly. I was like, "Keep coming up," but then it kept going. He's trying to make sure he can find out whoever it is, so they never hurt his baby again. And that was his way of trying to protect you. One, I want you so bad to get on the bus. If some joker come up again, I got you.
Exactly.
So another question Cynthia had was, here it is. How can you still be a virgin if you were violated 2 times?
I'm not. That was something else. Some things you just can't get back. You can't not see what you saw, can't not hear what you heard, can't not taste what you. I'm not. And that was one of the biggest. I felt like I cheated my husband. Because he felt like he was marrying a virgin. I felt like, and I never told him. Okay. I didn't tell him then. Eventually I did. And I remember when I did tell him, he sat on the side of the bed and cried like a baby. He said, "Why didn't you tell me?" He said, "I could have helped you through this. Why didn't you tell me?" I thought he would see me differently. I thought he would, like I said, I was active in the church. He was the first guy that I ever dated. He took me on a church prom, and Lord Jesus, a church prom. Help me, God, with a church prom. You said that, boy, stiff. Maybe it was just my church prom. I got on almost a church-looking dress.
You ain't doing too much dancing, just right.
We ain't doing much of nothing at a church prom. So we go to church prom. We back almost by 11 o'clock, whatever. We end up dating and seeing each other, end up getting married. Got married. I got married in November. No. I got married February 28th. My firstborn TJ was born November 22nd. You count. You do the math. Almost 9 months to the day. And that was another thing. I was like, God, I never even enjoyed life. I'm sexually assaulted. As soon as I get married, I get pregnant on a honeymoon because I was not a virgin, but had never and willfully engaged in sex until my marriage night. And then found out a couple weeks later, you pregnant. Huh? How did this happen? I remember calling my mom again. Mom, my stomach hurt. I said, I feel like I just drank a glass of grease. That's what it just felt like. Like I had drank. She bust out laughing. I'm like, well, what I do? You pregnant? I said, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Old folks know. Yeah, I was.
Not old folks.
So that was something else.
The wise, they full of wisdom, not the old folks.
The wise, yes. Excuse me.
Mama Wanda said church prom. Oh, those was the days, huh? Guess what I said? Shouting the night away at the prom. That's what you're doing.
Church prom, yes. Had on this long light blue dress.
You look beautiful. I'm sure of it. So let's talk about what Cynthia had asked. Did any of these people serve time? However, at this time, it's shared that not really sure. The hope is that they didn't do it to somebody else. However, if they did, horrible. I want to go to the part of the relationship with your husband and how, because so I've done therapy, and I've had some couples that have experienced sexual assault, and it does really cause some challenges sometimes in the relationship. One, if I don't feel comfortable to share, or I do feel comfortable to share, but it's just because my private space was, violated. My private space is mine now. I know I'm married. I do love you, or, whatever relationship you do have with the person, but how that really does it can cause a change in how you relate. You say, there's trouble with loving, but, specifically like with your mate, like the challenges that come with that. Because some people get in relationships and maybe they didn't hear from another person that they were in a, sexually assaulted and things like that. And it was like, Cheryl love me. I mean, when we first came around, not so much love me, but she's not feeling me how she used to feel me, or he's not feeling me how he used to feel me. Doesn't want to be touched, doesn't want to be hugged, doesn't want to kiss. And some people aren't really affectionate, but some challenges that it can bring if you were specifically sexually assaulted.
Right. And then the fact that he didn't know that I had been assaulted. Like I said, I would trade off sex for cleaning the toilet. I'll trade off sex for washing dishes. But it got to the point where, and I felt like it was a chore. I felt like it was a job. I felt like it wasn't pleasant for me. So it couldn't have been so pleasant for him. It definitely impacted. And even after years into it, when I finally did share, it was like too much, too long, too late, too little, too late at that point. So it played a major part. And then the fact it caused arguments, and I didn't really know that was the reason. I sort of figured it might have been, but then I said, but I had never been with anybody before. So maybe I just don't enjoy it, or was it the impact of what actually happened? So I even to today, I don't really know 100% whether it was just my makeup and I'm just one of those people who don't particularly care, or how much of the assault played into it. I know the fact that his actions reminded me of him. And then there's a certain smell that's associated. Just caused me to become nauseous, to become sick. So, yeah, well, it wasn't a fun time.
Got it. It's definitely experience from couples that I've worked with. It would be like it was some zones that she just did not want to invade and things of that sort. So we talked about what we could build up to, because the challenge was him being honest. So I'm talking about stepping outside the house, and we don't really want that. We don't want that to be his reasoning either. And finding out, oh, she's been through this. She needs someone to support and love through this. Can you love and support her through this? And she works to love and support you as you're adjusting to this that she's going through. And that can be a challenge sometimes. One, if we're not honest, if we're not open in that communication of, okay, well, to find out what it is that you could do to make it work, And Cynthia has a good question here of, did you get married for love or for protection?
You know what? When he asked to marry me, my mother didn't, she didn't think we were the best fit. And I remember her saying, we were just going to do like a real quick wedding, a quick something. And I remember her saying, if you wait 6 months, she said, if you give me 6 months, I'll give you the wedding of a lifetime. I'll give you the bells, the pomp and stance. I'll give all of it. Just give me 6 months. I didn't realize then what she was actually doing. And I went back and I told her, I said, my mom's going to really, we won't have to struggle trying to get this. We won't have to have this little rinky dink. We don't. He said, no, I'm not going to wait. And I said, okay. I believed I loved as much as I was capable of loving. I know I didn't love all the way, but I felt as much as I could possibly love that I had loved to that extent. I really believed that I knew that I didn't love, but as much love as I was capable of. If you're understanding,
yes,
I loved to the nth degree of what I was capable of. And even though that was only so much, because love was all the way out here, I was only able to love this much. But as much as I could love, I did love.
Yeah. I'd even step out to say that couples that get married now love to the capacity of what they can love. Because when you're married and you're living together, you're like, sir, where you come from, man? What you doing? You find out a different version of, because you're growing and evolving every day. So like your love expands and grows. So in the moment, you love the person. But you find out what in love is. You find out what love truly is as you continue to go on. And you're hoping that it works out. You're hoping that it works out. So, the T word, therapy. You said it took a while to go to therapy. Let's talk about that process of getting to therapy and the benefits of going to therapy. Yes, you got to take a sip for this.
Yeah, therapy. I had decided that I was going to volunteer for WAR, Women Organized Against Rape. So I go down there. This is after the assault. Long after the assault, I just want to be able to help somebody else, but I'm still not speaking out. I'm still not being very vocal about what's happening. Yeah, the family knows, but I'm not, parading, holding a sign saying I'm advocating for sexual assault survivors. I go down here so I can learn how, I can help. I remember being in the introductory session. And they were asking individuals, what brought you here? What made you come? There were men and there were women, strangers. I didn't know any of them. I remember one man standing up saying that he wanted to be able to know what sexual assault was all about so he could be able to sort of protect his children and protect his wife. Another lady said that a family member had been sexually assaulted and she wanted to be able to help that individual. And then there was another lady who stood up and said about her assault, and she had been assaulted a couple of times, and she went on to say some stuff. So the minute she said she had been assaulted twice, I said, wow, this was about 3 or 4 or 5 people in. So she's like the 5th person standing, and she's saying she had been assaulted a couple of times. I'm like, that automatically caught my attention because I'm thinking, wow, somebody else has been assaulted more than once like me. And then she went on to sort of go into the details to some degree of a family member and a stranger. I'm like, how coincidental is this? And I'm listening to her story as she's introducing herself, telling why she wants to be there. And then she goes on to share. And I realized she then sits down. The minute she sat down, I realized she was me. I had never felt that level of comfort in a room of strangers. It was like I was out of my body. It was like I was listening to somebody else. I didn't even know. I had no idea that was me talking. Because the stuff had been packed in me for so long, for so many years, and I felt a safe place. Yes, at home I felt safe. With my parents I felt safe. Even with my husband, because like I said, I hadn't even told him. So in this environment, I felt safe to say what had happened to me in a room full of strangers. And that's why I can't stress enough the importance of letting the individual know, I believe you. I believe, and I know some people might say, okay, you say I believe them, and suppose they told a tale. I don't know what to tell you. You got to believe the person until you find out it's not true.
Until you, what's it, innocent until proven?
That's what I'm saying. So in that room at that time with all of those people, I wouldn't trade that. I wouldn't trade the experience of Dorothy nor that experience for all the tea in China. That is what really got me going and got me really to be able to express. It was like a waiting to exhale moment.
Yes.
It was like woosah. And I was like, I really felt like limp after it. I didn't realize how weighted it was, how much carrying that was on me, holding that, and to be able just to let it out in the wind and feel safe enough to say, yeah, it was me, it happened, was so refreshing. So I encourage therapy when the individual is ready. I'm not one who say drag them. I'm not one that say pull them. I say put a number here, put a phone number here. When you get ready, you call. And before I ever went for counseling, I used to call the hotline. I would make up a name. I was so afraid that someone on the other line may even know me, so I wouldn't give my real name. So in order to try to have a conversation, the person will say, "But just make up a name, so that I'm not just calling you Miss. Just make up a name." And I made up the most obscure, craziest names you could ever think of, because I didn't want people to know. I remember walking down the street feeling like God is my secret judge, that I had a neon sign that flashed raped. I remember sitting on the bus one day next to a gentleman, and he was reading the paper, and he was flipping the pages, and he was then he stopped at one page. He was reading about someone who had gotten sexually assaulted. My whole body tensed. I felt like, I said, this man he knows. I didn't know the man from somebody on the bus. I didn't know him from a can of paint. But that's the weight of carrying that, and therapy helped. And the other thing, thank you, Jesus, that therapy helped me to understand that why I was so compliant. I had chances to run. I had chances to scream. I froze, and then my therapist helped me to understand what you did was called the survival mode. When she broke that thing down to me, for years, I said, I must have said something. I had to have. I remember having a conversation when he stopped, and I knew when he came over, from the minute he came over, I froze. But I was able to talk. I can't explain this. I remember I figured what he was trying to do. And I said, no, my auntie lives up the street. I said, and she has a cat that I feed on a regular basis. I said, see, these are her keys. I said, let's go there. I'm petrified of cats. If anybody who know me, I'm petrified of cats. I run in front of buses. I run up on people's tables. I am.
Wait a minute.
I'm telling this guy, my aunt lives up the street. He said, no, you're lying. And then he took me to one place behind the school, but that wasn't secluded enough. It was, oh God, what's the name of that school? 22nd and Cambridge. I can't think of the name of the school. And then took me to where it was like abandoned cars. I was supposed to climb over the gate. I wasn't able to climb over, but it was a dark, grassy area. And he did what he did, raped me there at that place. And in counseling, I was able to understand that. I remember walking from 22nd and Cambridge to the place where he was taking me. It was a little girl on the step. It looked like in my mind, I was screaming, help, get your mouth. But my mouth wouldn't move. We passed somebody else, but my mouth in my head, I'm screaming. I'm like looking at the people like, you don't hear me? You don't hear me? You don't hear me? You don't hear me? And then I realized in counseling, I did what I did because as a child, you see it on TV. Every end result on TV, 99 times out of 10 on television, the person gets killed. They fight, they end up getting killed, or they beat so bad until you don't even recognize them. And my therapist, I can't remember her name. I remember Dorothy's name. I can't remember the therapist's name. Helped me to understand that what I did was called the survival mode. I did what I did in the hopes of being able to safely get home, to safely survive that situation. And once I learned that, once I realized that the shame, you talking about the shame was like, no, I didn't bore you and carried you long enough. Now I know, and what I gave you an eye, or I gave you a finger, it wasn't anything I did. It wasn't anything I did. The fault is always 101%. Always, always, always on the shoulders of the perpetrator, and never on the shoulders of the victim. Never.
Mm-hmm.
If you learn nothing else from me, if you hear nothing else from me, if you take nothing else, if you understand nothing else, these two things I want you to understand. I believe you. It wasn't your fault. And the weight of what happened to you belongs on the shoulders of the perpetrator. I believe you. It wasn't your fault. And the weight belongs on the shoulder of the perpetrator and not you. I carried that weight for so long. For so long.
I want to take a pause for the calls to shine the light on love. There's a question in the comments of maybe not knowing what love is, geared around if it was because of marriage or love that some children were conceived and things of that sort. And this is what I want to say on that to our friends that are listening and watching. If we're honest, we all struggle sometimes with what the definition of love is. How your mom treated you, how your dad treated you, how your ex treated you, all different kinds of ways of love, right? When you get married, the dream or the theme is you're supposed to have babies. So some things come out of maybe normal, some things come from love, some things come from just being married. You know, you rolled in the head, you didn't know a baby was going to come and pop, there it is. But it doesn't diminish any love that you have for that child once that child is born, okay? So in love, we all sometimes struggle with that. Love is like caring concern for somebody, but do we really always want to have caring concern for somebody? Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we want to be petty Betty, you know? So we want to be in love. You know, our thoughts, you know, we're asking questions to learn some things on tonight, but we also want to show love because this is somebody's journey. And if we're honest and point the light on somebody else in the audience, they might have a similar journey of not quite knowing what love is. You know, had my mom not been so affectionate, things that sort, I might not have known. However, I didn't really have my dad around to know what a father's love was, but I was blessed with people to step in and show me those things. Doesn't mean I still made good decisions in relationships sometimes, but I found out what I did accept as love and what I didn't accept as love. So, you know, somebody knowing what love is and not knowing what love is, we're learning every day because we are ever changing and ever evolving. Okay. Another part of the piece was the act of intimacy, how it was shared that the act of intimacy wasn't enjoyed because it brought back the thoughts of a bad cat. If you sub your toe on the bed enough times, you want to pay attention the next time you go around, right? Because you don't want that to happen again. Whatever defense mechanism somebody puts up to support and protect themselves, let them put it up and protect themselves. One of the big pieces of tonight that's been shared, tried, and through is listen. And when somebody's telling their story, we want to be able to listen. We can't really make up in our minds of what should be, how it should be. You got to let that person walk their walk. You got to let me walk my walk. I put on my shirt today, salty vibes, because today was a salty day for me. But I got to walk my walk. But what I do want to encourage us is to be able to listen. You know, everybody's story is different. If it's some other questions that you want to know, we can solve offline. I'm available. Send me a message. I can answer some questions, you know, help you process through the thoughts that you have. I thank you for questions, but we also want to be able to do the things in love as well. Again, babies are conceived and they are loved when they're coming forth. You know, everybody's experience is different. However, in this situation, at the McCoy house where the 7 wonders visit, it's love there. Okay?
Yes, it is. Yes, it
this
is.
This definitely hurt. And she shared that it has caused some hurt and how that affects. And that's to help us understand in our day-to-day walk. Because we could be in a relationship with somebody and maybe they didn't sexually assault us, but they didn't make us feel important. They didn't make us feel heard. They didn't love on us how we wanted to be loved. It's going to cause us to change in our actions towards them too. All right. I hope that's helping out. Trying to do it. Omega said, Asher was made out of love. I know you was made out of love, Omega. Omega just and the love stay flowing, okay? So again, these situations are real and they happen every day. And I brought the conversation because it is the elephant in the room and it is something that we need to speak up about. But we also want to be able to show love. They were already validated. Why we got to validate them with our words? All right, let's just show love. Let's show love. And again, I get that you just asked some questions. Again, just keeping it in love. The babies was made out of love. Some could have been just married because that's what, married folk do. Some might have been just, there we go. Okay. God bless. Yvonne, tell us about, is it LASA, Life After Sexual Assault? What is your mission and what it is that you're doing?
Life After Sexual Assault. Yes, LASA. Initially, I just wanted to be able to support sexual assault survivors. I wanted to create a safe place where they could come and talk and converse and share what had happened. But then I began to narrow in on what I believe the best way that I could support survivors was to educate people. And again, that part of the change in my mission or my focus came with regard to the Me Too movement. Now, everything I do, everything I say, everywhere I go, I'm wearing the education hat. I'm trying to educate myself more so that I'm in a better position to educate others. I believe I read somewhere with regard to statistics that 95% of childhood sexual assault could be eliminated by way of education. And once I said that, I said yes. Yes, yes, yes. 95% of childhood sexual assault. Let's just think. Both of my instances was pretty much as a child. 95% could be eliminated by way of education. People just don't know that. They don't know what to look for. They don't know what to watch for. They don't know what to think. They don't know what to say. They don't know how that they're further traumatizing people. So in loving people and not wanting anybody to go through what my mother went through, I saw her hurt. I heard her hurt and she never said a word. I tell you what, I called her on the phone. Did we live in cousin so-and-so? And the quiet. I felt her hurt in her silence. My mother was a strong woman, protected her children, loved her children. She wasn't a huggy kissy. She wasn't but honey, you best believe she loved you. Like some mothers, they go shopping and they buy the cereal that's on sale. Tuda didn't do that. She brought whatever cereal that you wanted. That's what she brought. Some moms, for whatever reason, don't have the money. You'll eat baked beans and hot dogs, and mom and dad eat the steak and potatoes. Didn't happen into this house. Tuda cooked steak and potatoes. The kids ate steak and potatoes. She showed us love. Not to say that the parents that gave their kids the cereal while the other kids ate something else, just to show the type of mother she was. She was all in, all hands on, never touchy. I can't. In fact, the times that she did say she loved me, I said, "What's wrong, Mom? What happened? What happened?" But you knew beyond. I never, ever, ever questioned or doubted her love. Never did I doubt or question Tuda's love. So it's so important for us to let our kids know we love them, even if it's late in life. Even if now I say I love you. I got one daughter I kiss all the time, Pumpkin. We always kissing. I try to kiss Katoy. She said, "No, you got the wrong one. Go call Pumpkin and kiss her." I said, "But I just need a kiss. I'm gonna feel better." Mom, call Pumpkin. That's the kissy child. It's so much. I'm so much more comfortable with expressing and showing. I'm still not where I want to be because I feel like I missed out on so much. I walk up to strangers now. I do a lot of work with Redeem for a Cause, human trafficking, and I catch myself hugging people. Like I say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm a hugger. Mind if I hug you?" And when I heard myself, the first time I heard myself say, "I'm a hugger," it shocked me because I'm not normally a hugger, but I've become to be such a open person and more expressive of love. So I just want to hug everybody. I want to make everybody well. I want to make everybody better. And with regard to my perpetrators, I don't hate them. I did then. Yeah, a whole lot then. But now, by the grace of God, I am where I am and I am who I am. And now what has happened to me, I've allowed myself to use it for the better, to strengthen and empower others. So my whole mission is to educate on every level. In fact, my next event that's coming up, which is going to be a touchy one, I need you to pray for me. It's entitled "Me, My Sexual Assault, and My Place of Worship." We're going to have people from various religious backgrounds who are going to share their sexual abuse and what they wish the church, what support they wish they had received from the church. That's going to be for the first 3 weeks in December. That last week, we're going to have ministers or people in leading positions. A part of being criteria for being on the show is that you first have listened to those 3 weeks where we had those other individuals on. And then we want to know from our church leaders, what practices do you have in place? And if you don't have any, what are you going to put in place? Our place of worship is where we go to find help. We go to find relief. And if you sit there and you're not getting what you need, and some church officials don't understand, and they can say things that are harmful from the pulpit. Believe it or not, just the pulpit and some churches is no more than maybe an inch or two off the ground. But that inch or two off the ground makes anybody standing on that spot, people looking on them, take what they say for gold. They take what they say as being the truth. Just because that platform is raised a little bit higher and you're in the pulpit now and you're talking. And anybody in that position has got to be so careful of what they say. Sometimes from the pulpit, they can say things that can be damaging. Sometimes from the pulpit, they can say things that can re-traumatize. And it's simply because we don't know. It's not because you're trying to hurt. So I ask that you follow me in the month of December for the 4 weeks in December. Me, my sexual assault, and my place of worship.
That's going to be a good one. Because again, it's not always talked about.
It's, it's hush up.
Like, don't have sex, don't get pregnant. They don't talk about these things.
Talk to God. Talk to God. Did you hear what I said after my assault? God, I talked to him. He was the first person I talked to. And I told him, even you don't love me. And that's what I believed. But in the church, sometimes we're told to go back. Go talk to God. Go pray. I can't. You the one told me that he loves me and he's taking care of me, but then you're going to send me back to him. In my mind, at that point, I'm thinking, until I get a better understanding, until I get therapy, I need you as my leader to help me. I can't see God. As a child, I couldn't see God. I was told about him. I loved him because of what I was told, but I couldn't see him. I see my leaders. So I need my leaders to help walk me through this until I get to a place where I can see and comprehend who and what God really is. So that is my hope. It's not about church bashing by any means.
Right. Education.
Of the imagination. I am saved and sanctified, been in the church all my life. So I will not bash the church, nor will I allow someone to come on my platform and bash the church. It's all about education.
Yes.
Black folks spend so much time, before this pandemic, spend a whole lot of time in church. And if you're hurting and you're wounded, and that's where you go and worship, and that's where you go and praise, and that's where you go to be delivered.
Gotta know how to handle it. Oh, that's going to be good. Y'all friends, go ahead and check that out. It's going to be good in December. I want you to do me a favor, friends, because we're coming to the conclusion, and I'm going to have, share some things that she wants us to walk away with. But to share such a story is so powerful. So can you drop some love? Let's give her some words of encouragement. Andrew said, I was the oops, there we go.
Andy. I love you, son.
We're grateful that you made it, Andrew. Omega said, this is such a needed conversation, and I really hope my mom's story is an outlet for others. Absolutely, because guess what? It doesn't matter what age it is that you finally do speak up. When you speak up, it frees you. When you forgive yourself, it frees you. When you talk to somebody to process those things you've been through, it frees you to be able to go forth and continue to live on. Not that you can't live on with it, but it's lighter. As she shared, when she forgave, it was like, lighter, wait a minute. And now she's able to be on a platform and to present a platform to be able to share with others how, I made it through, how I've survived, and you can too. All right. Mama Wanda says, show love. This is so needed. Somebody is being helped tonight and delivered. Absolutely. And be sure to share this with anybody that you feel would benefit from hearing. Tongue-tied, tongue-twisted. Yes. Omega said, I've never doubted your love.
Oh, okay, Lily. That's my seventh wonder. That's the last one.
She's last in Mohican time. Tamika said, you have been a blessing to so many, more than you even realize, by speaking so transparently, with great poise and with a heart that we can feel going out to those that have come through, are coming through, and may be going through it right now. You are a jewel that is beyond price for the community of sexual assault survivors. That shows us what it looks like to thrive. I love you and appreciate you. That's from Tamika.
Thank you, Mika.
Okay. Cynthia said, right? Omega says she don't kiss me, but she buys my favorite cereal.
I'm gonna kiss you tonight, Lily.
Claire said, words of wisdom. Thanks so much for joining us, all of my friends. Carmen said, thank God you freed yourself by talking about it. Absolutely. That's a lot, to be able to share, come on a platform and tell all her business. We thank her. Roberta said, hey, Mom, one of the 7 wonders. Oh, the babies are in here. Sick. Yes, yes. Linda said, you are helping and healing a lot of people.
Thank you.
And Cynthia said, thank God that burden is no longer on your shoulders. And that's a big part too, being able to have that burden lifted.
Thank you,
so,
God.
What is something that you want us to walk away with in hearing your story?
Okay, I want to say something to both the individual who is loved by a parent or a loved one who has someone who has been assaulted. I know you love them. I know you care. I know you want the best, but you're pushing, you're priding, you're moving them in a direction that they're not ready to go in. It's more painful than you could ever begin to imagine. The best way you can help them is just to be a listening ear. Listen to their movements, listen to their sounds, listen to their, and I know I'm saying listen to their facial expressions. They, I promise you, will tell you when they're ready to go. And you'll probably be one of the first people that they reach out to. To the survivor, I can't get close enough to this camera. I wish I could look each of you in your eyes. It was not your fault. It was not your fault. I don't care that you disobeyed your mom and you went somewhere. I don't care that you had something to drink. I don't care that you took those extra clothes when you got where you went to put on a little slinky outfit. I don't care. It was not your fault. I promise you it was not your fault. And there are agencies and there are people and organizations that are put in place right now to help walk you through when you are ready. I love you and I believe you.
I love it. I love it. Great. Thank you again so very much. Andrew, one of your wonders, said, great job on plugging your show on this show. That's how you're supposed to do it. Because this was just to open up a can of worms. But if you want to find out more, be sure to follow her. Be sure to check out those episodes that are coming up, because guess what? We can say we know how to handle it, but we don't know until it really comes up.
That's
okay?
True.
We think that we can, do stuff nicely, and it was like, ugh. So trying to find a way of how to effectively and in a supportive way support somebody that's going through, you want to be able to definitely follow up. Yes, Beatrice said, your transparency will help many. You are a blessing. Indeed, she is.
Thank you.
Yes, and it was not your fault. This was really, really good. I thank you so much for joining. I'm so grateful to Shamika for connecting us.
Yes.
Excited to see what you're doing in the future. I definitely will be following and tagging along to see what's going on and give me, my
sexual assault, and my place of worship.
Yes, I had the second one. I wanted to make sure I said it right. Me, my sexual assault, and my place of worship.
Yes.
Y'all be sure to follow and see what it is that she's doing. I thank you again so very much for joining us for our Speak Up. And I'll be in touch to see what else you're doing.
All righty.
Have a good evening. Yes. Oh, friends, that was amazing. Yeah, we got some amazing people that are in Philadelphia, outside of Philadelphia, all around Philadelphia that are doing some amazing things. And guess what? You too can speak up about what's going on with you. Great talk, great talk. Don't forget our quote of the day. I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it. Again, I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it. And that's by Maya Angelou. So again, don't let it mess you up. All right? Don't be reduced by it. It happened, but don't let it reduce you, because you are still of value. You are still important. You are still needed. You are still loved. You are still amazing. Okay? Go to therapy when you're ready for it. That's a good part too, because if you're going and you're not ready for it, you're wasting your time, the therapist's time, everybody's time. But it also lets you know, I thought I was ready, I wasn't. So it's okay to try it out. But again, go when you are ready to help process through those things. A couple of announcements I want to share. Last month, I believe it was, we sent out some snack attacks, and some college students sent me some messages. Check out what they had to say.
Everything. I appreciate it.
I just wanted to thank you guys over at Snack Attack for the snack attack. Thanks again, I really appreciate it.
Oh, it was so amazing to get those messages from those young people. They were so excited. One shared it was homecoming weekend and she needed some goodies and things, and she was excited. And it was just a blessing to be able to give back, to let some college students know that they are loved, they are appreciated, they are amazing. This year we did 10 students. We'll be doing it again in March, so stay tuned because it's going to be amazing as we continue to do it. So again, just share some love with some students because it's hard out there, okay? Another thing I want to let you know is our annual holiday give back is back. So help us sponsor a deserving family for the holidays. All donations are requested no later than Tuesday, December 14th, if you want to be a part. What this is every year we sponsor a family. Last year we did 2 families and it was amazing. We provide them with a dinner, coats, hats, scarves, gloves, pajamas, clothes, and goodies. And again, we just want to be able to let them know too that they are loved, they are appreciated, they are needed. So our annual holiday gift back is coming back, and I'm excited because again, I'm just happy to be able to give back to somebody else. And that's what we're all about. We want to help others know that they are not alone, that they are loved, that they are appreciated, and that we see them. I see you too. I mean, you see me. I can't really see you. You know what I'm saying. But I love you all. I thank you all so very much for joining us on tonight. I don't know what we're doing for December yet. I promise I'll have something back. I'm going to take a moment to be thankful in these next couple of weeks. You too be thankful because life is short. Over the weekend, I heard that someone passed and it hurt my heart a little bit. Just hearing that. And again, friends, life is short. Please reach out to your loved ones. Let them know that you love them, that you care for them, because we never know when that may be the last time. So I do love you all. I do appreciate you all. Be sure to follow our guest. She got some good things going on. But until next time, I love you all for real. Good night.